Hi, my name is Daniel Williams, Chief Executive Officer of Leap Media Solutions. Today's discussion is titled Maximizing Membership, and we'll share the role of Max in shaping new consumer-centered strategies. Over the past 5 years, news media companies have experienced significant overall declines in top-line revenue, driven by massive erosion of traditional print advertising revenues. During the same time frame, digital and advertising revenues and subscription revenues have remained constant, at best generating modest year-to-year growth. In response to these major structural challenges, news media companies have experimented with a number of different business models in hopes of offsetting the overall decline in top-line revenues. The most notable and impactful reaction has been the implementation of paid content models. The Newspaper Association of America estimates that over 70% of daily publishing companies in North America have implemented some form of a paid content model, up from just around 30% just 3 years ago. This has indeed become the new rage. But there is a slippery slope to paywalls as a strategy alone. We are discovering that only a small percentage of the audience is willing to pay meaningful dollars for access to digital content and services. Outside of the New York Times, the Financial Times, and a handful of others, the revenues acquired through charging for premium content are insufficient to offset revenue declines in other areas. Paywalls also create a barrier to engagement, and in the process undermines our ability to gain a deeper understanding of our audience, whether or not they are or remain in a paid relationship. Consequently, a smaller audience weakens our appeal to local advertisers, who are interested in reaching specific customers in the marketplace. These factors and the continuous pressure to raise prices compromise the competitive advantage that we have relative to other local advertising and media sources. That is, our ability to efficiently and repeatedly connect local merchants with high potential customers. Today we will revisit the Day Publishing Company as a case study in how one local media company has come to regard its paid content model as a tactic supporting a broader strategy. In 2010, the Day partnered with a local brand management firm in a strategic process to clearly define the Day brand and to envision its future. Through this process, the Day identified 6 core competencies around which the Day brand could be developed and continuously evolve. This new vision is captured in its positioning statement, where the Day is a hub of distributed content and conversation with a local connection from a trusted source. From this strategy process, the Day identified 4 strategic imperatives. It must unify its content management and digital publishing infrastructure to support access to content and services in all the forms that it publishes, print, digital, mobile, and otherwise. It must also derive a fair value from these proprietary content and services. It needed to create a customized user experience, simplifying the process where readers interact with the brand, access content and services, and maintain their profile through a single sign-on. And finally, it must build a synergistic business model that regards customers as strategic assets. At the time, publishers had began experimenting with non-native apps and other premium products that were available on the growing number of mobile devices. Amazon and Apple were commanding 70% revenue of purchases of these products made through their marketplaces. At the Day, we believed this to be a perilous path. We then established several anchor points from which we could not deviate as we went forward with strategy implementation. First, we would preserve our direct relationship with the reader, and in the process maintain unfettered access to all user metadata that would be captured throughout the customer relationship. Second, we would be ubiquitous in the market, universally accessible in print, digital, and all mobile formats. And finally, we would create a blue ocean strategy that would render the competition irrelevant. Following 6 months of planning, in September 2011, the Day installed a meter on its website. But the meter was regarded then and today as merely a tactic supporting a broader strategy. The registration requirement was a mechanism put in place to manifest those site visitors who found value in our content. The meter, on the other hand, was a mechanism put in place to identify those readers who were willing to pay for access to content in an unlimited manner. And for those who were, they were then entitled to all the content and services that we provided, print, digital, and otherwise. The second component of our strategy involved a new membership rewards program. Anyone making an investment in the day is considered a member. So by definition, an advertiser is a member of the day in the same way that an individual consumer is a member of the day. The Day Passport rewards program then became a community engagement platform, allowing the day to function as an infomediary connecting buyers and sellers. The third component of our strategy involved our investment in Max to effectively leverage our competitive advantage by assimilating all data assets into a single customer intelligence database. In retrospect, we believed there was a 3-year horizon as far as maximizing the revenue yield of customers willing to pay for access to content. And over this time frame, it was critical that we be positioning ourselves to pivot our consumer strategy by monetizing audience in ways beyond controlled content access. Like most publishing companies, in the year prior to its paid content model, the Day was undergoing 6 to 7% annual declines as measured by individually paid circulation. The introduction of the membership model, where print and digital content was bundled, along with other added value services, has helped to stabilize subscriber levels. And over the past 3 years, the number of households paying for access to content has actually remained constant. More importantly, the All Access Content and Rewards program has driven a very high activation level among those individuals who are entitled to these benefits. I believe this is a key differentiator in the Day's strategy versus other publishing companies that have deployed a paid content model in some form. Whereas most other publishers are seeing 10 to 12% conversion rates, the Day has successfully converted over 65% of its households to fully activated memberships. The membership model also reversed successive years of consumer revenue declines over the 2 years prior to implementation. Moreover, the Day has sustained revenue growth for the 2 full years following the launch of its metered access model and accomplished this without any pricing increase. So how has Max specifically supported this consumer-centered strategy? The investment in a customer intelligence system and the assimilation of engagement and activation data is allowing the Day to evolve along its consumer monetization hierarchy. Up until very recently, the extent to which publishers were able to monetize a digital audience was limited to page views. More recently, publishers have attempted to convert anonymous site visitors to qualified prospects, and in the process have been able to monetize their audience through page views, deals, and access control through metering. At the Day, owing to its customer intelligence infrastructure, it now monetizes its members both directly in the form of paid content, deals, and page views, and indirectly in terms of its ability to deliver a qualified audience to local advertisers interested in reaching not just households, but individuals who have very specific interests and preferences. As an example, in Max we are appending demographic and lifestyle attributes to digital customer records that are associated to a physical address. We can then leverage user-defined affinity email segments to target specific types of content, whether that be proprietary content or information delivered on behalf of advertising partners. In the process, we are able to more effectively and efficiently connect buyers and sellers, as shown in these 3 examples. The new Home Source or Wheels Eye magazines that are delivered to approximately 30,000 registered users who have signed on or who have some other affinity to the content based upon the household characteristics. We are doing the same for relevant, targeted content e-newsletters. The gathered data enables the Day to thrive in its traditional role as a community infomediary. For example, in the delivery of targeted emails to eligible members promoting benefits from local advertising partners through the Day Passport. The Max investment has allowed the Day to provide merchant services to local businesses and organizations. Following a needs assessment, needs fulfillment methodology. As one example, the Day supported the United Way of Southeastern Connecticut in diversifying its own revenue generation through identifying those households in the marketplace that have a high propensity to support charitable causes. Then effectively to deliver and execute a multi-channel campaign that allowed the United Way to generate year-to-year fundraising growth for the first time in several years. The investment in Max has allowed the Day to become a smarter organization. we've developed web-based analytics suites that allow on-demand assessment of campaign response across a range of variables, such as creative, demography, geography, price point, membership level, age, income, and other factors. Our web-based retention analytics suite reveals significant improvements in overall subscriber retention. Using Smart Reporter, we are providing key performance indicators and other relevant metrics to stakeholders across the organization, many of whom had little interest or exposure to audience metrics previously. In summary, the Max investment in supporting the day's consumer-centered business strategy has allowed the company to maximize the customer value equation. Prior to its deployment, the day had a limited view of its audience and operated under a traditional address-based subscription model where consumer monetization was essentially limited to subscription revenues. Today, the day has evolved and expanded its definition of audience monetization to measure not only subscription revenues, but the other revenue-generating activities facilitated through engagement. Finally, this chart shows that diversification of consumer revenue streams beginning in early 2010 and accelerating through today. Without the investment in Max, the day's consumer revenue trajectory would reveal a much different outcome.